What to do when you feel like an imposter. You feel like you aren't the best. You feel like other people have a stronger following, a stronger personality, better ideas. You feel like you haven't been doing this long enough. You just have all of the doubts. What to do when you feel this way. You decide to launch a different way. You decide to increase your prices. You decide to go onto a different platform. You decide to get more visible. There are so many reasons that in the online world and in entrepreneurship we can doubt ourselves. And I am currently recording this video after drinking the most delicious chocolate milkshake and having a takeaway burger and enjoying some sunshine. Hence the rouge face. And I thought to myself, not only do I want to make sure that I'm always giving you strategy and value and, business solutions, but I really want to make sure that the content I'm sharing is also just really real and refreshing. And let's not kid ourselves, none of us are robots and think that we have everything together all of the time. And this comes up for all of us, this imposter syndrome, this reaching this next level, this wondering if we're good enough and if it's going to work. And you will hear all of the phrases, next level, next devil, and there's only one version of you and no one will do anything the same way you will. And some of these, of course, they're so important, but at the same time they can become words that get lost on us. So I just want to give you I just want to have a chat with you about what to do when you feel like an imposter, what to do when you feel like it's just not working for you, or you've lost your confidence, you've lost your mojo, you just feel you just feel that there's something, that feeling. The first thing I want to say is do not overconsume. Do not overconsume. And this has been a big thing for me. I hardly consume any other content because in the online space, and we see it everywhere, but we need to be really mindful. There's a lot of, this is the only way to do it, follow this method and it will work. There's also a lot of judgment, a lot of toxic positivity, a lot of passive aggressive natures. There's a lot of things that we can get sucked into. And if we're already feeling vulnerable and like an imposter, we can almost go to everyone else to try and make us feel more like an expert. And we can overconsume from all of these different places. We can listen to all of this different content, and we end up just procrastinating and taking on more than we need. So the first thing I would do is not overconsume. I have 3 people that I follow and I consume from, and that's it. And even then, I'm very mindful about when I consume. I watch all of my clients' stories as much as I can over anyone else. So really, when you're feeling like an imposter, the first thing I would say to avoid is to overconsume and to fill your cup with other people's information, because not always is it going to help you shift and reframe this mindset. The second thing I would do is ask yourself, is it true? Is it true that you don't know what you're doing? Is it really true that you're not good enough? Is it really true that this won't work? Or are these just doubts that we have? Because it's really important to remember that and get self-aware. I mean, I definitely do it, and I exaggerate and I generalize and I catastrophize. That's in my mindset and, the anxious part of my brain. But then the conscious part of me remembers it's not necessarily true. It's just as possible for me to succeed as it is to fail. I am just as capable of making it happen as self-sabotaging. So that's the second thing. Ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true that you're not good enough? Is it really true that you can't do this? Does it really matter if you don't have 10,000 followers on Instagram and a swipe up? Does it really matter that your email list is not full of amazing, thousands and millions of people, but you have the most incredibly engaged community on your list? Does it really matter if you don't have a graphic designer and you're doing it on your own on Canva? Does this mean you can't be successful? Like, who says that? Who says that you need to have all of these moving parts in this jigsaw puzzle for you to be successful? We do. And I'm not saying having high expectations isn't valuable, because for me it is, trust me. I have the highest expectations of myself, but I also know, and I'm self-aware enough to know when sometimes that's not serving me, and pushing myself and thinking that I need to have all of these things in place in order for me to succeed. I know that sometimes that isn't helpful. That isn't helpful. So ask yourself, is it really true? Why can't you succeed? Why is it more possible that you're an imposter than it is that you're an absolute badass? You know, why? And really question that in ourselves, because self-awareness, and I always say this, self-awareness is not the same as self-judgment, but it is important. It's important for us to remember that we only have one brain. We only have one way of our thoughts getting to us, one cognitive center. And if we're always allowing that cognitive center to feed us one side of the coin, we are of course going to flip that way and think, oh, only this is possible and I can only do this. But if we allow our conscious self to step in and say, well, what about this? And well, hang on a minute, what about this? It just means that we're going to be able to create more robust thinking, and that's important for all of us. And the third thing when you're feeling like an imposter is just to remember everybody, no matter who they are, starts where you are now. Everybody starts where you are now. Everybody starts at zero. Everybody starts trying new things. Everybody goes through periods of stepping out of their comfort zone. That is how it is. But I always say this. Someone always has to go first. Someone always has to pave the way. And while you might feel like an imposter, you could be a trailblazer. You could be an absolute game changer. You could be a trendsetter. You could be a go-getter. You could be the superhero. So allow yourself to harness this anticipation and turn it into magic, because there is no reason that you can't achieve. Number four, I'm sitting cross-legged now and I feel like I'm getting very close to the camera. Number four, remembering that the imposter syndrome feeling is because we care. And we care about who we're impacting, and we care about our own future, and we care about our own destiny. Of course we do. And that's a good thing too. You don't ever want to lose that feeling. And I've been watching a series, the Formula One Drive to Survive. Oh my gosh, it's insane. I know I'm late to the party. And Lewis Hamilton, who has, won more world championships than anyone else, he said in one of his races, it's never about what you've done before, it's about what you're going to do. And the Mercedes team say it's never about complacency, it's about understanding that we can always do more, we can always learn. So no matter what level we get to, no matter what we achieve, it's all in our way of thinking. It doesn't matter if you had a failed launch before, or something didn't work before, or you got burned by a client, or you had a negative experience with a team member. It's about what you do next. And it's about how you move yourself forward. And I think this is so important to remember that, you are not here to be a robot. And I remember when I first started doing my coach training, I thought that the session went so well, and the feedback I got, there were a lot of improvements to be made. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, but we can always keep learning. Does it mean that I can't improve? No. Does it mean there's any reason I need to stop? Of course not. Does it mean I can stop growing? No, we can always grow, we can always evolve. So I think definitely give yourself that opportunity to just take a moment to remember that someone has to go first. And that can be you. And also remember that it doesn't matter what's happened before, it matters about what's happening next. And the amount of clients that I have, and they go through these waves, I go through these waves, we all go through these waves. It's about remembering that there's always going to be that superhero version of yourself that comes back. And the imposter syndrome that we felt is going to subside. There's always an opportunity for us to move ourselves forward. But you are not an imposter. And I really don't want you to ever feel like the online space is just engulfing you and making you lose your creativity, lose your spark, lose your belief in yourself. And if that's happening, think about how you're spending your time. Think about what you're consuming and who you're consuming it from. Think about how you're being susceptible to knowledge and what you're doing with it. Because implementation is key. And I think sometimes we can get trapped in this cycle of self-sabotage, and that purely just comes from the accessibility of what's around us. So there is always a chance for you to adapt, for you to be brave, for you to conquer, for you to do something different. And there are always going to be people that doubt or question or are cynical. And there's always going to be parts of us that wonder, Can I do this? Will this work? But then there's always another part of you that absolutely, wholeheartedly believes in what you're capable of. There's a part of you that knows that you have this desire because it's meant for you. There's a part of you that knows that in your heart, in your soul, you know that you can do this. And that's why you keep going. And that's why you're watching this video, to spend some time looking at this, looking at when you feel like an imposter, because you want to grow, because you want to learn, because you want to move yourself forward. And there's nothing wrong in that. That doesn't make you an imposter either. So just give yourself the compassion that you need to be able to come back out like that trailblazer, the person that comes and stands at the top of the mountain and you went first and you hiked. And just remember that everyone goes through these phases. Everyone goes through this. I could talk about this, well, forever. But I just hope that when you are watching this, when you are listening to this, when you are spending this 10 minutes with me, that you really start to identify that there's another side to that imposter. There's another side to that coin. There's another opportunity. There's another way of looking at it. There's another way for you to move yourself forward. There's always a way to look forward. There's always self-belief. There's always this innate drive within you that knows that you're capable. And it's okay when you have those doubts and those moments, because we're not superhuman. But it's also about what we do with them and how we move ourselves forward. And you can do this. You are doing it every single day. And if it's not going the way you anticipated, that's not the end. I say this all the time, but one failed launch does not mean a failed business. It doesn't mean all your dreams come crashing down. It's about building yourself back up and going again. It's about doing something and trying again. It's about putting yourself out there in a different way, trying something new. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to go above and beyond, to step up for yourself. There's always more that we can do, always ways that we can grow. And there's always times to just reflect and refocus. But you are not an imposter. You are not an imposter. And you are here because you deserve your most exciting, abundant future. And you deserve to be making an impact on the world and on others. So I hope this has just given you some food for thought, and along the way, you know, a few tips, a few steps to help you when you feel like you are an imposter. And I do hope this has been helpful, and, you know, I'm always here. You don't have to do this alone. You're not alone. And entrepreneurship takes you through this roller coaster sometimes, and that's okay, but you'll always come out on top if you allow yourself the opportunity to do so. So you've got this. I'd love to hear what you're going to do to help yourself become the trailblazer, become the great game changer, become the go-getter, and be that person that really does make moves. You've got this, and I'll see you very, very soon.